Are you serious? Are you serious, folks? Well, welcome to another live broadcast. This is a special presentation, an interview with Rex Bear from the Leak Project. And a lot of you guys know who he is. Of course, he has a huge following on YouTube, podcaster everywhere. This guy is unbelievable, really. Every time I check out what he's doing as of late, he did the road trip thing across the country, finds radiation everywhere, finds artifacts, finds inscriptions on stones and walls and caverns and caves. But what an excellent guest to have today. And folks, Rex Bear is also going to be one of our major key speakers of this conference coming up, Aliens, AI, and the Antichrist. Let me introduce to you folks, Rex Bear. Rex, what's going on, man?
Hey, how the heck are you? Doing good? Beautiful day out here in Southern Colorado. I've been researching technology, like to the point of where Kristen is wondering if I'm ever going to come out of the garage. There's a lot going on right now. A lot.
Okay, now Rex, you're going to be our guest coming up in this this Alien, AI, and Antichrist conference. Now, I really love what you get into the AI technology, and we just had Steve Quayle on earlier today on our live broadcast we did. Can you tell us? He's amazing. Can you tell us a little bit what's going on now with AI technology? Everybody's freaking out right now over the AI technology. I remember when Elon Musk said, "Don't let the demon loose." What's going on?
Isn't it weird how he said, "Don't let the demon loose," but now it's, "Would you like your Neuralink implant?"
Same guy said that.
Is it the same guy?
I don't know.
Man.
I don't know.
Weird. Yeah. Well, so essentially what I'm seeing right now is and this is one thing I'm going to talk about when we do the presentation, is Exodus 7:14, where it describes the plagues of Egypt, the 3 days of darkness. And if you look at the way that the mainstream news is projecting what's going on right now and what is happening around the world, it seems as if it fits in line with the plagues of Egypt and the 3 days of darkness out of Exodus. And one of the plagues that happens before the darkness, before Moses points up to the heavens, and then there's the 3 days of darkness, essentially. Well, there was the locust plague, right? Right. Well, the locust right now, and then I was reading an article today about this new type of locust that's coming out, and it's going to be even more damaging to the environment. So it's almost like it's a blueprint that these elitists and these controllers and rulers know how to use to their own advantage as well. So I see this, like, for another example, the EMP situation that the mainstream news is pushing China might do. Yep. At any time. And they could, don't get me wrong, they absolutely could. It could happen, but it could also be some type of solar flare. I had Diamond Dave from Oppenheimer Ranch on a couple of days ago, and he was showing these solar cycles, and we're in this grand solar minimum right now, but it does appear that there could be a solar maximum happening sooner than what was projected. Exactly. And if that happens with a weakened magnetosphere and with all these satellites in the atmosphere right now and with all these electronics that are connected together, if there's a solar flare anywhere close to the Carrington event, we would be in a situation that would be so dire, it would make right now look like your honeymoon.
You got a great point about a couple things about, first of all, I love the fact you're taking the analogy of Exodus from the Bible, from the Torah, folks, that during the plagues of Egypt, you have the locusts, you have the darkness, and the fact that AI technology could be used, taken advantage by following a blueprint of the Bible. For instance, Rex, I've seen where there's some locusts and flies and dragonflies and hummingbirds and all kinds of these unbelievable drones that have been invented in China with surveillance capability. They could release these guys in with the locusts, or you know what I'm saying, or they could just fly these things around. People are seeing a mob of locusts and don't realize the surveillance that may be going on or other possible weaponizing of these things. Is that possible?
Well, sure it is, but to what extent do they use that technology now? So let's take a little bit deeper dive into this. For example, the synthetic environment for analysis and simulations. Purdue University's synthetic environment for analysis and simulations is being used by Homeland Security and Fortune 500 companies, and it is essentially a sentient world simulation. So it picks all the data, gathers all the information of everything that it deems necessary to come up with a simulation of what maybe a high-ranking official might do, or somebody that might be considered a threat, or what a certain government might pass as a law or a bill. And this has been going on for years. And combined with the central nervous system of the Earth, which is a Hewlett-Packard program where they wanted to spend or launch trillions of these microsensors around the world to track everything from earthquakes to livestock moving around. And, another interesting thing about the livestock is that's another plague of Exodus, is these major die-offs of livestock, and that's taking place right now. Just last year, 250-something thousand livestock cattle died in Australia from the droughts, and then they had extreme floods after that. And then on top of that, look at all the animals that were slaughtered this year because they couldn't leave the factories, right, because of the COVID shutdown.
Right. So you're saying there's a combination of things that the plagues. I mean, we have the locust swarms, we have the potential darkness because the sun is acting really crazy. We're watching the dying of the dead birds, dead fish, dead cows, the slaughtered animals, the pandemic of the coronavirus, the shutting down of the economy. It's almost like the four horsemen of the apocalypse are galloping, and you got to start wondering, is man manipulating this using technological abilities? And for instance, transhumanism, we've talked a lot about that over the last few years. You have extensively. I mean, how close are we to this implanting and manipulating of our mind and our consciousness, Rex?
Well, they have to get the masses to go along with their agenda, right?
Yep.
So what do? They create such a fear-based mindset, so much confusion, that people will be scared to go outside. If they do go outside, a lot of times I see people that are driving by themselves in small towns in the middle of nowhere with masks on because they're so scared of what the media is telling them. But then if you look at the masks anyway, and you look at how this, I call it the Cervasos demon. That's what it's called. That's what I call it, the Cervasos demons. Right? You get it, don't you?
Yep.
Okay. Somebody said Cervasos demons. What does that mean? Well, Cervasos demon, put the two together, you can figure it out. But anyway, you can't see it, so you don't know if it's there, right?
Right.
And then you only know if they tell you that it's there. And how do they actually know it's there? Because the tests that they made? That's quite interesting. So I just have too many questions for the status quo. This created an entire new industry where you've got tracers, you've got people that are becoming controlled opposition because of the fear-based mindset. It's also creating a division factor because you're going to have somebody on one side that will say, hey, I can see this as controlled opposition, and I can see what they're doing, and I can see the falsity, so they won't follow that narrative. And then somebody they're very close to might be the opposite, where they believe everything the mainstream news tells them, or a lot of what the mainstream news tells them. So it's another division tactic. They're launching all these division tactics right now in the year 2020, and it makes sense because 2020 is the year of perfect clarity, but it's also the year of division if you look at it numerologically speaking. And you've got these two sides that they're just pushing as far as they can apart. They're using the race card, they're using the religion card, they're using the political card, they're using the mask card, they're using the Cervasos demon card. And it's turned into a machine. There's 5 corporations that control over 90% of the media. The majority of the people that watch the news are either watching the mainstream agenda or somebody else's take on what the mainstream news agenda is. My challenge to everybody, and this is pretty exciting, is the 30-day no mainstream news challenge. Now, you can find news on various sources that aren't mainstream news.
That's right.
You don't need to go to the mainstream news sources, because how many times have they told us something that wasn't true in the past, and they were making their agenda known? So one thing that I will tell you is it's very obvious to me when President Clinton in a headline said, I have new hope. I have new hope with all these protests. So he has new hope.
He has hope.
Right?
Yeah.
He has hope. New hope, Paul.
New hope because they're tearing down the statues in the history of our nation. They're bringing division, they're rioting, they're burning down people's businesses, they're breaking glass, they're looting, and they're doing it all in what they call civil disobedience and a right of freedom of speech, which it's not. You don't have the right to tear down and destroy people's property. And if this gives Clinton hope, destruction of America, the downturn of the economy, the bodies in the plague, wherever this thing, and I think this thing's a bioweapon, to be honest with you, Rex. I just think it really is a bioweapon that came out of China, launched upon the world to bring America to its knees, to try to do a change. I mean, how does this bring good hope? How does he get hope out of this?
There are people that seem to be really giddy right now on interviews about this. Uncle Bill, if you watch him in interviews about the second wave, I'm wondering, he almost seems like he's getting off.
It's crazy.
And I'm not even exaggerating, dude. He's like, yes. I mean, he wants his operating system in you. How well did it work out in your computer? How many viruses do you get in your computer with that operating system?
No, you're talking about the gates.
That operating system in your blood.
Are you talking about the gates of hell? Are you talking about the gates of hell? Okay, so.
He loves us.
Oh man, I know, Rex. Okay, all right. So with AI doing all this stuff, talk to us now. 5G. I mean, look, there's tons of people who are warning the human race about 5G, and yet 5G is coming. There's no way of stopping it. It's here.
So I am really, here's the thing about 5G. The more research I do into what 5G actually is, I don't see it as being like this biological weapon in the sense of hurting people's biological makeup because of the amount of wattage that it's producing and the frequency that it's emitting. With that being said, I see it as a tracking system that can track people to the point of where they're going, what they're doing, and even it's like it's a part of the backbone of the internet of all things. 5G, in my opinion, isn't what you necessarily need to be concerned about. If you took a 4G system right now, and if you look at the radiation 4G emits versus what a new 5G system would emit, it's different. You're getting a frequency that goes through the body versus stops when it hits the body because it's not as high of a millimeter wave, plus it's more wattage. So it's like getting hit with a wave versus laser. Now, with that being said, I'm not for it in any way, shape, or form. I mean, I think we've got enough electronic interference right now to deal with, and this is just going to be another layer of interference. And I don't necessarily think that they've done enough testing to unroll it everywhere and say, oh, it's totally safe. I don't agree with that. With that being said, I think that they're using it as a way to freak people out when they could be doing other things. Like they could be using 5G as these scapegoats for those out there that are trying to figure out why things are the way that they are. Why is there connections when you look at some of these maps that you overlay with this Cervasos demon? Why does it seem like there's so many connections? And I don't have an answer for that. I will say this, in my opinion. Now, I was warned 25 years ago about the mark of the beast. I was warned 25 years ago about what's going on right now. And if you didn't take the mark of the beast, that you were either going to be taken out or you were going to be put in a concentration camp. And once you took this mark, that you lost your soul. So let's look at that at a scientific level. And if you look at the patent WO060606A1, that is a patent application. That's not an actual patent yet. That stands for World Organization. And then the A1, I don't know exactly what that stands for, but it is essentially a technology that is still improving that can blockchain your thoughts and emotions.
What? Whoa. Let me write that down. What is the name of this patent application?
WO, that stands for World Order.
Okay.
0606A1. This is a legit patent application that describes and this is a application that I think is from Microsoft that is presenting a way to, and they don't say implants, they say that they could do this with wearables, but essentially, imagine you have, let's say it starts off with a wearable, not an implant, right?
It's like a bracelet.
You don't even need to implant it in your left arm or your right arm. You just wear this watch. So anywhere you go, it's tracking you, it's tracing you like your phone. But it could also test your temperature. It could also pick up certain subtle differences in the body temperature. And also, you got to remember, your brain emits certain frequencies. If you ever had an EEG before, they hook up these transducers to the top of your head. There's no surgery, and it will pick up the frequency of your brain. And it will record the frequency of your brain. They've had technologies for over 10 years that you can play video games and your thoughts can essentially move the characters on the screen. That's public.
Yes.
That's old school.
That's old school.
So they have technologies now that, for example, let's say that you are wearing this device that tracks your thoughts and emotions, and then it blockchains your thoughts and emotions. Do you know what blockchain means? It's ledgering your thoughts. It's recording your thoughts and putting it on a public domain or a server for somebody to be able to access to make sure that you had that thought.
And they can do that right now, Rex? I mean, that's already going on?
The technology...
I mean, that sounds almost like Minority Report. I mean, if we start, I already know that they can follow you enough on Facebook or Twitter or wherever, or your browsing history, or what YouTube shows you like, or what television shows you watch, and all that. And what did you go to? They could study you out, and they can label us. They can put us in compartments, and they can almost figure out what a reaction will be to certain things. Mm-hmm. That's but you're taking this another level now, a level of reading the thoughts, or manipulating the thoughts. Can they put thoughts in your head?
Well, think about this. If you don't think the way that you are supposed to in this transaction, because it decides when you think the way that you're supposed to, when you do what you're supposed to do based upon the task that you were given, then you will get your digital currency. So once you do what you're supposed to do, you get your digital currency. Well, let's say you don't do what you're supposed to do. Let's say you accidentally go outside when you're not supposed to. You don't put your mask on you for whatever. You think about something you're not supposed to think about according to them. You don't have the proper response according to them. Well, then you don't get paid.
Wow.
So it's going to change the way you think?
Yeah, because it's going to the way you think, and it's going to change the way what things you do. This is, we got social distancing. This little social experiment that we're under right now is finding out if we will, and they are doing it, forcing us to change our behavior. How close to come to people, don't shake hands, step back, give 6 feet. I notice it's 6 and not 7 feet, but that's another question. And so we're learning the new term social distancing. But now you're saying you don't get your social or your digital pay social, so it's going to change even more of your behavior, and they're linking it to a financial gain if you follow the rules. Is that right?
Correct. And then on top of that's just one of the many things. That's one of many opportunities for them. And let's take this to the next level as far as a social credit system. So like they've implemented in China, right, combined with their surveillance, if they allow access to that and then your thoughts, there's really no way to escape that except for say no thank you. When it gets to that point, what do? Just say no? And that's one of the things that I wanted to talk about. Is I don't want to give all doom and gloom, because I really do believe that we have a chance to be the change, and I really believe we have a chance to help one another and not just sit in a corner and allow for this to happen. Now, I do want to bring something up. It's called the Diabolical Oracle. The Diabolical Oracle, making the decisions of the rulers who used to be called the Archons. Archon definition is ruler. So this is the latest and greatest go-to source for the answers. This is way beyond artificial intelligence. Now, Ahriman is the name of the deity that the ancient Persians, believed to be Satan.
Okay.
Now, many believe that entity is reincarnate right now as a technology, as a search engine that you are using, most people are using right now. Here's the thing. We look at life in carbon-based forms, right? That's the way most people look at it. Oh, okay. It's a bipedal being. Oh, it's got 4 legs, and it's a beaver. Look, it's making this really cool dam so that it can hold water. Look at how smart it is. But it's not as smart as us. But we don't look beyond that spectrum. We're usually looking with our physical eyes and hearing with our ears. We don't look outside of that vibrational frequency. Okay. So what if these rulers actually manipulate us in invisible types of means where we don't necessarily see them? They've been called by many names. The Anunnaki, the Watchers, the Nephilim were a product of the Watchers, the fallen angels. And it appears to me that genetic manipulation has been taking place since the beginning. Now, the definition of Anunnaki is those from the heavens.
Right.
So it can be a multitude of beings throughout the years that have been labeled as one specific race. Also, I believe the manipulation in the genetic form is still going on to this day. Everything from the foods that you're eating, from the drinks that you're drinking, the packaging in the foods, the chemicals, as well as the injections that they are attempting to make the world take. And if you look at the actual product in those things, you will see that oftentimes they have DNA cultures from aborted babies from decades ago. And you have to question, why did they use that specific strain? And why are they adding different animal types of DNA and insect DNA? And why are they adding formaldehyde? And why are they adding all these adjuvants that are chemicals and can be considered harmful or carcinogenic? But then they say it's just a little bit, but it's okay. And then they say, well, we're going to put it into your bloodstream, and you have to question, is that a genetic thing? I've looked at this and I've questioned this for so long, and I wonder if that is their way to genetically alter, like this is some type of farm. And it's to them. To them it is. They're like, well, what can we do now? How can we, because they think they're better than us.
They do. Rex, they think they are better than us. They're the elitist. We're the pawns. They're on Elysium. We're on the earth doing their bidding. They think they're higher than us. They think they're smarter than us. And they think that we'll go along with anything they say. And they're right to a degree. About 90% of the world will. You've brought up a great terminology. I don't know if you coined this or not. Diabolical Oracle. Is that right?
Yeah, I did. I actually just wrote this down before our interview. This stuff was coming to my mind, and I was writing it down, just flowing.
What I like about this concept, but Diabolical Oracle, is what you're doing is you're reaching back into the ancient gods, diabolical gods that was once worshipped by some of the pagan ancient civilizations, who were under a demonic influence and who would use that for reasoning for, let's say, slaughter of the innocent children, baby slaughter, sacrifice, human sacrifice, whatever. And what you're saying is that these guys are trying to resurrect these demons through new technologies, and you're calling it Diabolical Oracle. And I think that's almost like a title of a book. I mean, that's just such a great coined phrase you just brought out. But the truth is, it's exactly right. From my perspective, and I've told people this all the time. Have you ever watched a scary movie or a haunted movie or some type of a movie that's kind of diabolically written? You will feel a demonic presence come through the screen. Watching it, even in your home or in the theater, you will feel that presence leave the screen and fill the room you're in. Same thing with if you're doing something in a spiritual level, on a God level, on an anointed level, an angelic level. The same thing can happen through the screen. I don't know how many times we just did a show where 34 people came to Christ during the show. Okay, so the technology of today can be used good or evil. We're using it for good today to get information out to people, to open the eyes of the blind to people who don't even realize how we are being so manipulated on so many different levels. But I think you're actually nailing this one, Rex. You're nailing it. Tell us a little bit more, because this manipulation is to change our behaviors, to follow them. Am I right?
Oh man, it's so much deeper than that. And yes, let's take the frequencies as an example. You are a specific frequency. You have different resonance. And when you're in an environment that has a very intense frequency, for example, we're talking about electromagnetic frequencies. I did an interview once close to some power lines that were like extremely high power in the middle of the desert in New Mexico. I don't even know why this thing was there, this huge power plant. And within 15 minutes, my fingers were tingling. I was aggravated. My heart was beating a little bit different. I was intense, and you could feel that energy.
Right.
Well, when you spread that around the world, or when you have that in areas of big cities, et cetera, and you just keep adding additional layers of electromagnetic frequencies, how much is that affecting us at the quantum level? Now, you can have an argument with somebody that says, hey, look, that's non-ionizing radiation, so it's safe. And I disagree with that, but they will give the science as to why they feel that way, and I respect looking at their opinion, and they've done the research, et cetera. And then you'll have somebody that says, hey, no, I can physically feel it. And so where do you draw the line with science? Do you look at the observations of people and believe somebody when they physically get sick, and then you get away from that environment and they get better? And then, well, the science says it's okay. Well, sometimes you got to look at science as just one tool, and science rewrites itself all the time. So you hear the term fundamentalist Christians. Well, what about fundamentalist scientists? they're there too.
Yeah.
Well, go ahead, science, man. Well, science rewrites itself all the time. And
Wow.
I think in ancient scriptures, I think that the Bible and the Bible code and this information is so valuable. I just feel that we need to understand how to process it. Like the Bible code is very important. I've literally got goosebumps right now. The hair is standing up all over my body. I feel like this is so important right now that people realize they're more than what the media tells them they are.
Right.
You're more than that. You can be the change, and there's things that we can do. 30-day no mainstream news challenge. Just really think about that. What would happen if people turned off all mainstream news for 30 days?
Yeah, and just get the news from what you research from some of your favorite sites that you can get info from that is not heavily skewed and heavily weighed. And I can't deal with CNN. I really can't watch another lie. And they'll base a lie. They'll come up with a lie and just make the whole 2 hours and just keep bringing on people, and they just keep feeding and pounding and driving it home, and not 1 ounce of truth in it. It's based on a theory, a lie. It's an attack. And it gets old. And they're just one media outlet that does that. I mean, there's some in print, some on air. You're right. And if you just say, you know what, I'm not going to listen to the talking heads, not these talking heads. I want to find some folks that really know what's going on. I'll listen to that, glean through my sites that I know are fair, and give a pretty fair analogy of what's going on. And I go around the world to get my news. I mean, I cover everybody to find out what's really going on. And it might have to go, same story might have to be 4 different countries where I finally say, oh, okay, now I got it figured out because of the slanting. So we are the agents of change, and we can make a difference by truth always wins. Don't you think, Rex?
I do. There is nothing higher than truth. And I will say this, you are not mainstream news. So that's the thing. You're bringing news and information that isn't a agenda-driven specific by 5 corporations.
Right.
They have to meet their stockholders, and they have to answer to their political masters and those that are funny. No, you are giving your beliefs and the news that you feel is important, and that's what I appreciate about what you do. You don't agree with everything I say, and I don't agree with everything you say. That's what makes us human. That's what makes us awesome. If we always agreed about everything, oh my gosh, man.
We'd be another comic. There'd be just a bunch of leak projects. Hey, by the way, what's your website here real fast? The Leak Project, folks. Give it to us.
Leakproject.com.
Easy. The leak, with the.
No, just leakproject.com.
Leakproject.com. Guys, you should go right there. Brock's been putting it on the screen, but I didn't want to see it again. www.leakproject.com. That's leakproject.com. You guys want to check out his website. And what I love about Rex, and I met Rex in person in 2017 at the Great American Solar Eclipse there in Idaho, in the middle of nowhere. I mean, and wasn't that a phenomenal event that we witnessed?
Oh, man, it was a blessing. It was such an honor. And I feel like I've known you forever. And actually, you know what? That first interview we did like 10 years ago, man.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah, I do remember that.
And that was on a totally different platform, and totally different. The way that we came back together, this was obviously meant to be, man. You're a brother from another mother for sure.
I appreciate that so much. Folks, you don't want to miss out on Rex's presentation during AI, the Antichrist. No. Aliens, AI, and the Antichrist. Brock, tell them how they can get their tickets now. 30 seconds. Aliens, AI technology, and the Antichrist. These 3 categories need to be explained. We're having a powerful webinar at my website, July 17th and 18th. Get your ticket now. It's time to answer some of the unexplained questions that have boggled the minds and the deception. Hollywood has confused so many, but we will answer them all. Get prepared in these last days.
And stuff like that, and I can feel it.
You're right. It really is. And I think you're right. They have already done it. They're doing it. They're using it, and they will continue to use it and building the Mark of the Beast technology. And, it's coming. And this patent that you're talking about, WO060606A1, who filed this patent? Was this Gates?
Microsoft. Yeah, pull it up. You can just Google it right now, and it'll pull right up from the World Organization. That's what the WO stands for, World Organization. And it hasn't been processed; it's been filed specifically. And
right. It's a patent. So it's a patent pending. Hang on a second.
Yep. Here, we'll look at it together. I'll even pull it up right now. So I'll talk about this.
WO. Is there any WO and then 06 A1. Boom. Let's see this puppy. Oh man.
I'm looking at it right now.
Search for patents.
Cryptocurrency system using body activity data.
Wow, I see it. Provisional application for a patent. Provisional application for a patent. Provisional application. A provisional patent since June 8th of 1995. The United States Patent and Trademark Office. Let me read down. I don't want to read all that. I want to read what it says. Give me the body of it. Where's it at, Rex?
Download the PDF.
Okay.
There. See what it says? Download PDF. You download that, and it shows. Now, don't you love how they use the number 0606?
Nobody would do that. Nobody in their right mind who wasn't intentionally trying to do. What a great find. I see print. Wait a minute. Where's the PDF? Why can't I see that, Rex? Come on. What's wrong?
Okay. So there's a PDF thing right on the right.
Print, share.
Are you looking at the Google patents directly under Google?
I'm under United States Patent and Trademark Office.
Okay, check it out. Just do a Google search. Go WO 060606A1. Put that in Google search. The first thing that's going to pull up is patentgoogle.com. You click that, and then there's the PDF on the right. It says download PDF. You download the PDF. It pulls it up, and it's got the details. It shows you how they use sensors, user devices, a communication network, a cryptocurrency system. Human body activity is associated with the task provided to a user that may be used in a mining process of a cryptocurrency system. A server may provide a task to a device of a user which is communicatively coupled to the server. A sensor communicatively coupled to the compromise in the device, and the user may device of the user. So this is talking about the device that you have. May sense the body activity of the user. So it's sensing your body activity. It is then going to take that body activity data, generate it based on the sensed body activity of the user. Then it has a cryptocurrency system communicatively coupled to the device of the user that may verify if the body activity data satisfies one or more conditions set by the cryptocurrency system and award cryptocurrency to the user whose body activity data is verified.
Who would file a patent like that?
Microsoft,
the gates of hell. Okay, that's it. I'm Rex, you got to tell us more about that. You can tell us about this in your presentation. Rex is going to give us a 90-minute presentation. Aliens, AI, and the Antichrist. Get your ticket right now, Brock. Oh my Lord, Rex, thank you for coming on. I'd keep talking, but I got 10 minutes from now. I got to do another interview. So.
Hey, it's been fun. Thank you. You got me excited to talk about it.
All right. Text Heidi. Tell her when we're supposed to, we got to get your presentation done. Text Heidi. Lock it down.
I will.
Lock it down.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Rex.
You're welcome.
All right, bye. All right, folks. That's Rex Bear, Leak Project. Wow. All right, guys. I'm going to let you go. We're going to be back live in about 10 to 15 minutes. Approximately 4 o'clock, maybe 4:05. Be ready for it. Another powerful interview, this time with Bob Kudla. And we're going to start asking him about what's going on with money and the mark of the beast. I want to know what Bob Kudla thinks. He's a very, very faithful Christian, a Catholic who really loves the Lord. And you guys have heard him. He'll quote scripture on you. I want to know what he thinks about money and the mark of the beast. We'll be back with him in about 10 to 15 minutes. Are you serious? Rex Bear, are you serious? Aliens, AI technology, and the Antichrist. These 3 categories need to be explained. We're having a powerful webinar at my website, July 17th and 18th. Get your ticket now. It's time to answer some of the unexplained questions that have boggled the minds and the deception. Hollywood has confused so many, but we will answer them all. Get prepared in these last days.